Alright guys, in this video we are going to cover the bones of the vertebrae. So you have three different vertebrae that you need to be worried about. You have your cervical vertebrae, which are the smallest of the three. The unique feature about the cervical vertebrae is that these little holes on the sides of them, known as transverse foramina, and there are 7 of them, and they are in your neck. The cervical vertebrae are in your neck. Right behind your chest cavity you have thoracic vertebrae, which look like a little giraffe. Okay, there are 12 of them. They have very flat surfaces that allow for articulation between each other and with the ribs. Next we have the lumbar vertebrae, which are the thickest of the 3 types. Okay, there are 5 lumbar vertebrae, and they look more like a moose. You see the moose? There you go. So there are features that are common between the 3 of them. So each of the 3 of them has what's called a body. So this is the body of the vertebrae. I'm going to point at it for you. Body of the vertebrae. And that faces anterior. Always facing posterior and facing downward is the spinous process. So this is the spinous process, which is facing downward. Then we have these processes, the superior articular process and inferior articular process. Then the processes coming out towards the sides are the transverse processes. Okay? These are all best seen on lumbar because they're very prominent. It's such a large bone. So you have, and all 3 types have this hole running through the middle called the vertebral foramen. Vertebral foramen. That's where your spinal cord is actually going down vertically between these vertebral canals. Okay? Also, in the vertebrae, kind of cool, if you're breaking down this entire arch right here, the walls are going to be the pedicles and the roof is going to be the lamina. Okay, lamina. On the thoracic vertebrae, you have a couple pieces that are unique to it. So you have, since the ribs articulate with it, you're going to have a transverse costal facet right here, allows for rib articulation. Then you're going to have a superior costal facet and an inferior costal facet where they can articulate as well. On all vertebrae, you also have the superior articular facet and inferior articular facet on the backside right there. That allows for articulation between the vertebrae with each other vertically. Okay, and also you need to know the difference between C1 and C2 versus the others. So C1 sits on top of C2, so atlas over axis. And axis, which is the bottom one, has this bump. So here's axis by itself. Okay, this is known as the dens or the odontoid process. Okay. Alright guys, in this video I'm going to cover the sacrum. Okay, so the sacrum is at the bottom or the end of your vertebrae. Okay, it articulates with the lumbar vertebrae. So the part that articulates with the lumbar vertebrae is the sacral promontory on top. Then where part of the nervous system inserts in the top, that's your sacral canal. Coming out the bottom, on the down low, is the sacral hiatus. All these holes, these 8 holes, 4 on each side, are the sacral foramina. And then we have the crest running down the middle is the median sacral crest. And then we have the auricular surface of the sacrum, which articulates with the auricular surface of the ilium. Okay, that's it. Okay guys, in this video I'm going to cover the rib and also the pieces of the sternum. Okay, so for the rib, very simple, you just need to know you have one end that's flat and there's not much going on. Then you have another end which has a bunch of bumps and good stuff. Okay, so the very edge of the good part is the head of the rib. Directly underneath that is the neck of the rib. So head of the rib, neck of the rib. Then there's another bump, and that is known as the tubercle of the rib. Okay. Then you look on the back side of it, and you find which side there's a groove on, and the groove must point downward to be in anatomical position. Okay. The head must be back, and the groove must be down. So this would be a left rib. Okay. Costal groove down, head of rib towards the back or posterior, and that is a left rib. Okay, and I have a little jingle for you. head, neck, tubercle, head, neck, tubercle, tubercle, neck, head, tubercle, neck, head. You get the point. So, moving on from the rib, we have the sternum. Okay, so on the sternum, we have a couple different pieces of it. So this entire bone right here is the sternum. The pointy process at the bottom is the xiphoid process. That's broken a lot of times during CPR. Then we have the body of the sternum right here. And then you see this little suture or groove right there. This is the manubrium on top. Manubrium. So manubrium, body of sternum, xiphoid process. Then you have a little bit of a groove or a divot on the top of the manubrium. That is known as the suprasternal notch. And then you're like, what is all this orange stuff? That is just costal cartilage, which would articulate the sternum to the ribs.